Welcome to the Midland Moment Podcast, the podcast dedicated to telling the story of Midland through the eyes of our employees. I'm your host, Jeremy Wiltz. With me today is Amanda Hawkins. Amanda serves as our Director of Community Aid Services, and she has been serving at Midland Care in various capacities for the past 13 years. Welcome, Amanda.
Hi.
So I'm really excited about this podcast. For those of you that may not know, when I first came to Midland, Amanda and I got to work together in our Thrive at Home program, which was a program I got to lead for a few years before it transitioned over to Lee's area. And so really excited to hear your answers to these questions and learn a little bit more about your career path to Midland. So let's just kind of start there. What can you kind of sum up what brought you to Midland? And I know you've been here for a while, you've gone through various roles, so just take a little bit of time to kind of lay out what your career has been like at Midland.
Yeah. So I had been working in healthcare in various settings for a long time. My dad was ill, and while he was at KU Med, we were going to bring him home on hospice with Midland Care. Unfortunately, he passed away before we could do that. But the team that came out to the hospital to do his intake was just fantastic. So I applied at Midland and started as an CNA. They helped me get my home health aide. Eventually, I went back to school. I went back to school to become a PTA, which I did, but I also got a degree in healthcare administration. So as the previous Thrive at Home coordinator had left Midland, I applied for that job and moved into the coordinator role and eventually into the director role for AIDS.
It's such a cool story, and such a story that kind of exemplifies the career path for those of you that haven't listened to Beth Pretty's podcast. She has been here for a very long time and actually sent us a picture of every badge she's had at Midland, which was kind of a cool thing. And Amanda, we really value the fact that you've been here for the number of years and stuck with us through all of that time. And so what about Midland? Obviously, you talked a little bit about your dad and the caringness of employees that you interacted with. But since you've been here, what about Midland makes you want to continue to work here, and once it makes you want to make this the place for your career?
I really believe in what Midland provides with all the services. We really have a continuity of care for people. In addition to that, working here, everyone is always so friendly to each other, and it's in facilities. It's a lot of like high school drama, bickering, things like that. And there's not much of that at Midland. And it's just really an enjoyable place. And they have so many great benefits for employees, from paid time off and insurance, but also activities like the celebration walk and things like that to celebrate what we do.
Yeah, and you highlighted so many great things that Midland puts forward for its employees, and I would wholeheartedly agree with the things that you said. Can you tell us just a little bit more about, as a Director of Community Aid Services, what do your roles and responsibilities kind of encompass?
So I kind of cover all the aid services that go out into the community to assist people under hospice, home health, previously Thrive at Home, and for the PACE program. So I'm kind of over all the regions we serve, and we have 2 coordinators that directly supervise the aides. So I kind of guide how policies and procedures should work for the aides, making sure they are taken care of and our patients and participants get the best care.
Yeah, and as we talk through our services, our aides are some of the unsung heroes that, a lot of times they go unnoticed in the in the office setting, but they bring so much value. For those of you that know her, Ruth Sample just recently announced her retirement, and we had a party for her. And she had been here for 18 years. And it's cool to look at a career like that of someone that serves and realize the thousands of people and lives that touched. And I think it's also important to note how important our aid services are in providing that support to not only the patient, but to the family, and taking on some of those tasks that are sometimes not the most glamorous tasks in the world.
Definitely.
Bathing, toileting, cleaning people up, helping clean up a house, those sorts of things, but they make such a huge difference in our patients' lives. Just as kind of an aside, so if there were people that were listening to this that were like, man, that, I either am a CNA or I'm interested in becoming a CNA, what would you say to them about the idea of working at Midland and the idea of pursuing that path?
So one great thing about working at Midland, being a CNA, is you are working, especially in home care, you're working one-on-one with people. You don't have call lights going off. You're not rushed to get things done. You have quality time to spend with that person and provide them care. And flexible schedules in home care are great. We kind of can move around schedules to fit your daily life. We have all kinds of schedules from 6 a.m. to 10 o'clock at night, at weekends. We have multiple people that are going to school that also still work either part-time or full-time, and we adjust their schedules as their school schedules change as well.
Yeah, I think it's such a cool area to enter into healthcare. Mm-hmm. Even for if someone's listening and is in school or wanting to go into school for nursing or other areas, this is a great way to be able to work while you're going to school for possibly even another degree or to make that your full-time career path. And so you having been here for a few years, can you think of a time, a story, an event that you've experienced? I'm sure they're too numerous to count, but I'm actually going to tell a story first and then let you tell a story because I think I've told you this story before. So this is specifically about Amanda. When I first started, it was the middle of COVID when at Walmart, you were only supposed to walk one way down the aisle and all that sort of stuff. And I was actually at Walmart with my Midland badge on, and there was a guy that came up to me and he said, "Do you work at Midland?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." And he said, "Do you know Amanda Hawkins?" And I said, "Yeah, actually I do. I work with her pretty much every day." And he goes, "She was our aide when my wife was on the private duty services, and then she moved into hospice, and Amanda helped take care of her, and we just it's been years since she's passed, but we just love her and let her know that anytime she's in the area to stop by and say hi." And I think that really exemplifies you, but I think it also exemplifies Midland in a way of the way that we take care of people, not only through a continuum, but also the care and compassion. And I know I told you that story soon after it happened, but it was really cool for me being a newer employee here to hear that from somebody that had been leading one of the departments here. And so wanted to brag on you a little bit because I know you're not one that will brag on yourself. So had to at least take that opportunity. But do you have any stories or any events or any people that come to mind that really exemplify the values of Midland?
So like stories of myself or
anybody in the organization that you've seen or things you've been able to witness that you're just like, wow, that really captures what we're about.
I mean, the stories are numerous, definitely. But one that sticks in my head is we had a patient that was pretty difficult, had multiple diagnoses, mental health issues, and had just gone through several different aides trying to find the right fit to be able to serve this person with the care and compassion they deserved. So we asked our aide, she's no longer here, but her name was Dixie. And she went in and was just formed the most awesome relationship with this person that she just was persistent and kind to this person over and over, and eventually started letting her help bathe him and care for him, making sure he ate. And I know after he had passed away, we received a long letter that went to Dixie just thanking her for the services she's provided and the care and time she took with him.
I think that's a perfect example of how Midland's philosophy and what we hope to instill in our employees is that it's not just the tasks that you do, it's the relationship and the people and putting people first, and doing what's necessary, doing the extra to make sure that the whole person is cared for, not just the person, but also the family. provide that high quality care that we know. So I was thinking as we were sitting here with having been here 13 years, that means, kind of around that 2011 timeframe was when you started, which was just a few years after we had started PACE. And, we were a much different company than we are now.
Yes, we were. For
those that don't know, at that time, PACE was actually in Building B. And we were pretty all one main Fraser campus center. There were no outlying centers. Everything was kind of revolving around this campus. So you've gotten the opportunity to see Midland grow very quickly over the last few years, and the good and bad that goes with that. But what most excites you about where we're going? You've seen a tremendous amount of growth, but what most excites you about where we're heading?
I mean, our expansion of the PACE program, I really feel like PACE is so beneficial to individuals and really helps older people. And as we expand our area, able to serve more and more people, I think really PACE is kind of the future of elder care in my mind. It offers so many great services and really takes care of the whole person instead of an insurance plan that just pays their healthcare bills.
Right. And I think that's huge. And I think we'll see a major change in our geographic area and the number of people we serve through that program over the next few years. And we'll definitely see a big increase in the number of aides we have in the next few years, because aides play such a vital role in keeping those participants at home instead of them going into facilities. So to wrap up kind of our time, I really love to ask kind of a question that's not Midland related. And so I really, really love to delve into, so when you were a kid and you were thinking of your career and what you wanted to do, what was it that Amanda wanted to do growing up?
I was an ambitious child. I wanted to be a brain surgeon. I had it in my mind, but I'm way too clumsy, so that kind of went by the wayside as I got to high school.
Yeah. I think it's always cool that, but even to say, even at an early age, you wanted to be in healthcare helping people. It doesn't surprise me at all that, that you would say that. And so, thank you, Amanda, for everything that you do for both our employees and our patients, participants that we see every day. We know that what you do is so vitally important, and you do such a great job doing it. So for those listening, thank you for listening, and we will talk to you next time.